Today we're at this cool old cemetery out on the side of a major highway here. You actually have to walk up these little stairs to get over the barbed wire fence on a farmer's property to get to it. So it looks really cool. We're going to check it out here and see how old some of the graves are. So this is the stairway. I'm not sure really if it's going to be unlocked once I get to the other side. You can see the stairs aren't in that great a condition. But the cemetery is labeled. It appears we're allowed to be here. We're kind of in this little small corridor in between some cornfields, and it looks like maybe some grazing land. There is a chain, but I don't see a lock. I think you can just... Oh yeah. Okay, so definitely it's not locked, so it doesn't appear we're doing anything too incredibly wrong. Not sure of the history behind this place. We sort of, it was discovered while I was driving to another location, and I marked it on the map so I'd remember it. And today we decided to pull over on the road and check it out. The graves appear to be fairly worn. You can see again, a lot of wear and tear from the many season changes in the Midwestern area. Looks like 1870s there. We have this epic old tree here that looks really creepy. That must be hundreds of years old. And then it's got graves just kind of leaning up against it all the way around. Look at that. I mean, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There has to be at least 10 different stones, even if some of them are just pieces. This is crazy. I've never seen a cemetery quite like this one. You see it just extends over this way into the brush. You can see pieces just all strewn about here. This has not really been cared for at all. We're getting deeper into the brush, and you can see there's just more and more stones that are hidden. I thought maybe the farm that is literally right next door to this place maybe had family members that were buried here, but it appears even if they do, no one's really taking too much care of this graveyard. This is kind of sad in a way. I mean, you can see this is a base for a headstone, and then there's the headstone just kind of buried right there in a bunch of brush. You can see the line of graves just goes right up there. And here's one that has actually survived the test of time, or is fairly new. You can see 1914 for the first person marked there, and then 1882 for somebody else. And then you can see it's also surrounded by more destruction, including this little section right here that actually, I mean, you can't tell if it's a piece or if it's actually marking a real grave. This is literally, I think, the worst graveyard we've been to so far. Marcus Cup. Died 1899. And then what's even stranger is this is supposedly the edge of the cemetery here. But if I go and look past the barbed wire, you can see even more headstones just laying there. This is actually made out of concrete. I've never seen them use a concrete fence post exactly like that, and especially inside of a graveyard. That's really weird. Really incredible place. I've never seen anything quite like it. This is absolutely surprising to me. I've never seen anything with this level of destruction. Even the cemetery, if you've watched it, where all the headstones were kind of strewn about, sort of like a cobblestone path. I mean, this is, that was nothing compared to this. Found another one here in fairly good condition. John and Mary Young. You can see this is probably what was actually their original stone right here, and then somebody actually came and replaced this. I mean, it's a style that's probably been made within the last 20, 30 years, maybe a little bit older, but it's been fairly recent. It's too bad that they didn't actually take care of it enough to, or take care of the graveyard enough to maybe clean up a little bit. Well, this is probably the best condition I've seen yet. Look how simple of a message this is. At rest. So all these appear to be very late 1800s, 1870s to early 1900s. Again, towards the edges, we start hitting these areas where you don't really know what exactly you're looking at. It could be an old marker. This now has a hole in the center, as you can see, and I'm assuming it was just a stone to put a headstone into. It looks like it had, maybe it was slotted to actually fit a headstone, or it was just maybe cut out to be less weight. I'm not really sure. The farm here is a actual horse farm. You can see there's one there, and there's one behind the trees there. So that's kind of neat. So that must be what all the grass actually is actually for the horses to graze in. This looks like Henry Basinger, died 1877, 81 years. That's incredible. What is this? Butterball. H&L Butterball. Aged 45 or 48 years. Another grave here with the last name Butterball. Actually, it appears that it was a daughter of whose father's last name was Butterball that also got married and changed her name. You can see at the top here a different last name. And this appears that it used to have an inscription of some, oh yeah, it definitely had an inscription of some sort. It's almost more visible on camera. This is an amazing bit of history. I mean, for being what appears to be a family graveyard, it's still fairly large, but has a lot of people dying around the same time, so it's like they all immigrated to this area together and then settled down and were all buried together. So this is probably one of the oldest graves in this graveyard. 1847 was the date of death. Now here's a interesting one. Catherine Clements. Same style as Mary's grave, but She doesn't have a date of death on here, or even a date of birth. Almost appears as if she had purchased her stone to be here, and then maybe got married and decided to be buried alongside her husband at a later date, and decided to just leave the stone here as sort of a lost investment, I guess.
So here we have, you know, clearly, only thing I can think of is recently a marker was taken out of the ground here. We're talking recent. That looks pretty fresh. As you see, it's right here in the middle of a row. So someone just had to relocate it, or they just don't know what to do with it.
There's sort of a line of graves here. It kind of ends in that one. But then if you follow the line along, there's two more lonely graves right there at the end. Makes you wonder if someone's actually buried in here somewhere. Why would they just break a row like that? See, again, it just sort of ends here, but something's there. I mean, how many graves are just right in there? And again, it just kind of follows this line. So, seemingly, there should be at least 4 graves in between. Look at that. Just right in the center of the tree.
But still, it brings like a really every day, Matt, this will be the day that this tree decides to fall apart.
Right. It's a very interesting last name, Cross Nickel. Lily May. Wow. You see once again on this side of the tree, there's graves just going straight into the center of the tree. Until that's actually a unique grave. It has the initials on the grave, or on the headstone, AOA. Look at that. And even more. There has to be probably 15 or 20 different graves just right around this tree. At least the headstones, that's for sure. Look at this. It is a miniature of the really famous tree headstones that we see all over. This one is only about maybe 3.5 feet high. And you can see compared to Adam here, just how short it really is. See, these are kind of newer. This is in 1917. And then this, I think I'm gonna have to look at my camera again to 1888. No, 1880. These shiny graves kind of stay in good condition like this, but it's really hard to read. I don't know if this one actually, that one doesn't appear. Okay, it's actually written on the other side. It's still incredibly hard to read, but in really good condition. The final grave, and I'm gonna guess that right here was the original stone, buried in leaves and brush and new grass growth.
Yeah, it's disappearing.
I'd say that pretty much does it for this graveyard.
I've never seen one with this many old graves in one spot, have you?
No. No, it's just like there's piles here and there.
They're everywhere. I mean, there's one newer grave. There's
Yeah.
2, 3. I mean, there's not many.
All right, everybody. Well, if you enjoyed this exploration, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, share it on your favorite social media network, and as always, make sure you subscribe. Have a good one, everybody.
See you next time.